So even though she was at school for 4 out of 6 of her subjects, you will see that we still did a ton of things at home with her. We do supplement pretty heavily. I did feel like she wasn't getting, especially in the language arts category, enough support in the areas that she needs to keep working on. So we did a lot of language arts, and then we also did science and electives here at home. And you'll see other things as well. So if you want to see what I did with my ninth grader at home this year, stick around. Hi friends, welcome back to Come in the Chaos Homeschool. If you're new here, my name is Davine, and this past year I was homeschooling 4 kids who were in 6th, 7th, 8th, and ninth grade. And today I'm going to be sharing with you what I did with my ninth grader here at home. So if you have not been following along in our journey, this year has been a little bit different for us. My ninth grader actually joined something of a hybrid school this past year for her ninth grade year. So she goes to the school 2 days a week, and they take care of 4 out of her 6 subjects that she needs for high school. And so what she was doing at school on the 2 days that she was there, she had American history, she had American literature, she had career explorations, and she had math at her level. Now I'm saying at her level because my daughter does have an IEP, and so she gets to do things at her own level. And so we make those adjustments here at home as well. Okay, so like I said, we supplemented quite heavily this year. I'm going to try to tone it down a little bit next year because she did have quite a heavy workload between the things we had at home and then the things she had at school. She did do well at school, and so that was nice. It was a new experience for her going into high school and experiencing different teachers. So she had 4 different teachers as well as myself teaching her as well. And so that was a new experience for her. She really enjoyed this year, and she's looking forward to going again for her 10th grade year. And we're going to be doing a similar thing. We will still be supplementing where we can, as far as especially language arts, but also we will be doing some subjects here at home. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to do 4 subjects at the school, 2 main subjects at home, and then we'll supplement on top of that. So that's sort of what we've decided to go with. Technically at the school, most kids would be taking 5 subjects at the school and 1 elective at home, but it is very flexible. And we just found that the balance of 4 and 2 worked really well for her this year. And so we're going to continue with that balance next year. Okay, so to start, my daughter did devotions several times a week, maybe not every single day of the week, but for devotions this year, she started with this. So we talked about this first term, creation, Bible investigations. This is a blank copy that I haven't used yet, but she did this. It has a lot of puzzles, and it goes through Genesis, but it has a lot of puzzles and fun activities. And as you can see, as I'm flipping through here, so it's sort of an activity book that goes along with Genesis. So that was fun. She finished that up at the beginning of the school year. She started that last year. And then she moved into this. So this is You Are Beautiful and Courageous, a devotional for girls. I'm just going to show you sort of what it looks like back here where she hasn't written yet. So she's not finished this yet, but it basically has a devotional page here. And then they ask a question and she can respond there. So she likes this. It's kind of girly and cute. I would say it is very suitable for the tween or early teen years. That's sort of the age range I would suggest this for. And as I'm going through these resources, I just want to remind you that I will put links in the description box below to everything that I mention, along with timestamps in case you want to jump to a certain subject that I'm talking about today. So next, in regards to math, at the beginning of the school year, I did start out with supplementing with CTC math because I do have that for, if you have 2 kids in that, you can add 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 kids, it doesn't matter. So she was working on CTC math on a few days a week. As we got into the school year, I did find that she was having enough math with her current math teacher, so I stopped that. Now that her school year is over, we are still doing some work here as a family. And so I actually started something new with her. So this is actually new, and I can't really review it other than she has enjoyed it so far. We started doing this. So this is Your Business Math series. This is Pet Store Student Kit. This is recommended for, I think they say 3rd to 6th grade. I think that this would be suitable for lower middle school as well. It covers a lot of things like addition, subtraction, multiplication, maybe not division so much, but it's kind of fun because basically you are running a pet store. So in the very beginning, you have like $10,000 and you decide what inventory you want to buy. So you buy inventory, you set up your store. Well, you set up your store financially, and then you go through the 12 months of the year. So in January, basically in January, they go through 10 steps every month. So the 10 steps that they go through every month is you fill orders. So there's orders that come in and you have to create order forms and write the quantity and add up the cost on that. So you write the customer name and the quantity. You adjust your inventory amounts, so you replace what inventory you want to replace. You have some chance cards or additional in-store sales, so you get a little slip of paper that tells you how much extra sales you made that month, and a chance card. So sometimes that's something good that happened to you, and sometimes it's something that bad that happened at the store. You pay your bills, and so they tell you what bills you're paying, and then you practice writing checks. You pay your sales tax. You decide on an advertising budget, so that'll affect your sales the next month. You order new inventory, so you create an order form for your inventory and calculate how much your inventory is going to cost. You then balance your ledger. So you go through and you make sure that everything is written down for the month. And then at the very end, you calculate whether or not you made a profit or a loss. So sort of a fun way to do math. I thought this would be a fun way to end the school year. We are not going to finish it this summer, but we will be working on it a little bit this summer. And then I might have her do it like once a week in the upcoming school year. So that is something new to us. I picked up this one because I do plan on using this with my boys as well in the upcoming school year. I wouldn't say it's not a complete math, but it could be something that you do like once a week throughout the school year. And I'm not sure how long it would take. I guess it depends on how long your kids take to do the activities, but that's my plan in the upcoming school year with her and then with my middle school boys, just to have something fun on Friday. And so that has been a hit, and that is something that we just started recently. All right, so next I'm going to talk about the language arts things that we have been doing here at home. At the beginning of the school year, and for a lot of the school year, I usually gave her 2 to 3 days of the math or language arts, and then I started slowing down towards the end of the school year because she was finding it hard to keep up with her other stuff. So this is something we just picked up now that she's done with the school, and we're just working on this throughout the summer, and I might just do it once a week, something like that. And even when I'm saying we do it multiple days, it doesn't mean we do every single one of these each day. So most of these were only happening about once a week for a lot of the school year. So the first thing that she was doing is she was finishing up Spelling You See at level E. She's going to finish this up this summer, and I do have F ready for her to go. And so spelling is something that she has struggled with. However, she's made great improvement. She usually gets most of the words right now at this point. She might have 2 wrong in a passage, and that is a huge improvement. And so this is something that I've been doing with her since she started homeschooling, and she was in 5th grade when we started homeschooling. Actually, she was in 4th grade when she came home for COVID. And so 5th grade was her official first year, and we've been using Spelling You See since then, and her spelling has improved so much. And so we're going to continue with Spelling You See very supplementally, like I said, maybe once a week, and that's like a fifth of a lesson. So very slowly, but we're just going to continue with that. Something new that I added this year, because I got this for my middle school boys and I thought she would enjoy it because she loves dogs, and that is Beowulf grammar. And it has been a really good way to review grammar concepts. So it's a lot of fun. I would say it's usually recommended for maybe 3rd through 6th grade. I'd say easily you can use this as review in middle school, and we are using it for her. So we have only gone through 1/4 of this because, like I said, she doesn't have a lot of extra time to work on this. The student worksheets for Beowulf grammar come divided into 4 sections, and so she finished book 1 of the student section. So she will be working on book 2 in the upcoming school year. Another thing that we do just a little bit is Wordly Wise, book 5. This is something she was already doing in her 8th grade year, and we just continued in her 9th grade year. And this is something that she is now finished. So she just finished this up. I don't think I'm going to pick up the next one for her just because, like I said, I need to cut back a little bit on what she's doing supplementally. So we will continue with Spelling UC in the upcoming school year and Beowulf Grammar. And then she also does reading. So I require her to read 20 to 30 minutes every night. And then the books that I assign have been throughout this year have been based on her astronomy or on her earth science or on the geography that we've been learning this year. So some of the books that she has read that are not related to her astronomy or earth science this year have been Catherine Called Birdie. I assigned this to her because she was just interested in this book. And one of the subjects that she will have next year with us at home is going to be world history. And so this is a book that she would have to read next year anyway. So I gave that to her a little bit early since she was interested in reading it. For geography, she has read The Shark Collar, and then she has also read Shinji Takahashi, Into the Heart of the Storm. Those were on like Pacific Island area. While we were studying Africa, she read A Girl Named Disaster, Listening to Lions, Illegal, which is a graphic novel, and Journey to Joburg. Okay, so I mentioned geography. Now, we did geography very minimally this year. We did it as a group subject, but then I also had her continue to work on the online textbook for Guest Hollow. So they have an online textbook and then they have a workbook. And this year she did the portions that cover Southeast Asia. So we were finishing up Asia, and she did the Pacific Islands, Oceania, things like that. So that was something she did by herself about once a week. It wasn't for credit, but she will actually get a credit for it next year because world geography is going to be one of her subjects that she's doing at home with me next year. And so I'm going to be able to get her some credits for the work that she's done so far in world geography. So like I said, we did some of this as a group, and so you'll have to go watch my family subjects to see what we did as a group. But then she did the online textbook and workbook on her own. Then she read some of those readers, and we did read alouds and things like that based on the area that we are studying. So this year she was home for science. And so her first semester, I talked about this a bit, she was doing Discovering Wonders of the Universe. This is a literature-based unit that I created for her. She was my inspiration because she really likes astronomy and she really wanted to do astronomy, and I couldn't find an astronomy that I liked. And so I went and created a literature-based astronomy that has a bunch of beautiful books, and then it has some activities, and it has some literature scheduled in there, as well as YouTube videos and things like that. So she really enjoyed that. Some of the fun literature books that we either listen to as audiobooks together in the car on our way to her school or back from her school, or books that she has read on her own. We listened to Hidden Figures. This is the young reader edition. This was a really good book. It's about African American women who helped with the space race. And yeah, so that was really a fun book. Actually, I believe they have a movie, or they have the documentary or something on maybe Netflix, and we need to watch that. So we haven't watched that yet, but that was lots of fun. Another audiobook that we've been listening to is Space Case. My kids have enjoyed that one. And then another book that she read was, I think, George and the Secret Key to the Universe. I'll put that up here. She liked that book. And then here is just a pile of some of the scheduled resources. So we have Planetarium, Space Maps, DK Eyewitness Astronomy. We have the Astronomy book. We have Exploring the World of Astronomy, What We See in the Stars. We have Space Explorers, Amazing Space, and then this is what she used primarily for her experiments when she was doing astronomy, and that was Janice Van Cleve's Astronomy for Every Kid. So she did some of those, and she sort of had a little lab notebook, and she also did written narration on these things every day. So she picked a few things to write about every day that she was doing her astronomy. So that was her first semester science, and then her second semester science was this. So discovering Earth's wonders, and this I just decided to make. It went along with the astronomy, and so I went ahead and made a literature-based Earth science course. And turns out she says that she likes this one even better. I do think that I did an even better job on this. It was my second unit to make, and I'm very proud of how both of the units turned out, but this one just really came together really nicely. So I'm looking forward to using this with my middle school boys next year. We're still working on the astronomy unit, but this is something that she really did enjoy. So a little bit of the literature that she read that went along with this, and this is not everything, but she read Johannes Kepler, Giant of Faith and Science. She read Quake, Disaster in San Francisco, 1906. She has read a ton of I Survived books, so like the Joplin tornado and the eruption of Mount St. Helens, things like that. She's really enjoyed that in the Earth Science course. We've had a few things like the Magic School Bus blows its top, so we had a few of these scheduled that she enjoyed. And then here are some of the scheduled books or the more regular books that are in this course. I don't have them all because we do get some from the library. So I've been kind of getting a lot from the library. So we have Exploring Planet Earth. That is a wonderful Christian book by John Hudson Tinner. We have the Geology book. That's a Christian resource. We have Geology by DK, a visual encyclopedia. We have the Weather book, also a Christian resource. And then we have Incredible Earth, the book of answers for kids by the New York Public Library. And this has been a lot of fun. This is just paper models. So she created a lot of these paper models and things. So we submitted that to the charter school, took pictures of the things that were 3D. And so she's really enjoyed this course. I also purchased the National Geographic Earth Science Kit for her. So she got to do some of those experiments. And she also kept a lab report book. So she did a very basic lab report on the labs that she did. There's 2 books that I used for other labs, so I will just put pictures of those there. So there are 2 lab books that we got from the library, and then she went through and did these things, and she kept records of her kind of labs in here. Lastly, she did 2 electives with me this year. So she did one in the first semester and one in the second semester. First semester was photography for teens. She really did enjoy that. I do have a video talking about this course, so I will link that in the description box below. So that was first semester. And then this second semester, we decided to do personal finance. And so we were doing beyond personal finance. I did this with my 9th grader and then my 8/9th grader. This is a 20-week course. It has video lessons that are maybe around 20 minutes, maybe 20 to 30 minutes. They make yearly budgets every week that they study this. They have different things that happen in their lives to affect their lives. They learned a ton of stuff in here. I would say don't go too young with this. I feel like this would be most beneficial for 10th grade and up. It was a little bit over my girls' heads, so my 8th and my 9th graders' heads, a little bit over their heads. It was good information, and I'm glad we did it, but it did get very technical at times. So like as far as taxes and like what money gets taken out of your paycheck and things like that, but it had a lot of really good information. So this course was really, really good. It was really practical, and I do recommend it. I might just save it for 10th grade and up. If I knew how deep this course went, I would have probably saved it for another year, but we really did enjoy it, and we had a lot of really good conversations, and I'm sure both of my girls learned a lot from it. Now, because that is I would say it's about a 40-hour course, I didn't feel like it was enough to submit to my charter school and them give her a half credit for that. So I added a few extra things. So I added this, Usborne's Understanding Money. And so she went through this, and I had her draw some diagrams, take notes, write down information, things like that. I had her keep a glossary, and so there were a lot of bolded words that I had her keep a glossary of. And then I also had her read How to Turn $100 into $1 million. And same thing, I had her draw some pictures, write some captions, take notes, and things like that. And then we also were doing Financial Literacy by Evan Moore, the grade 6 to 8 version. And so I just included those as well. And so we submitted all of that to her charter school. We got about halfway through that course. So I'll put that up there. That's also a lot of fun and very suited for middle school grades. So that was what we did for her personal finance half credit. So that is everything that I did with my current ninth grader this school year. It was quite a lot, so I can see why she might have been a little overwhelmed at times, but we did step back when we needed to step back, and I do want to keep encouraging her to grow, especially in language arts and then in everything. I mean, in everything. That's why we homeschool, right? So, like I said, she'll be going to the school in 10th grade, and I will be making videos about what we are doing with her at home. I'm going to try to step back what I'm doing with her a little bit in the upcoming school year. Yeah, we'll see how I do with that. But that concludes what I have done with all 4 of my kids this last term. And I mean, that was an overview of her whole year. Come back next time if you want to see what we did in our morning basket this last term. And I think I'm going to just let you know as well what we're going to start our morning basket like in the upcoming school year. So it's sort of going to be an end of the year evaluation of our current morning basket and what I plan on doing in the upcoming school year. So if you're interested in seeing what our morning basket was and what our morning basket is going to be in the upcoming school year, don't forget to give me a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And thanks so much for coming today. I hope to see you all in a future video. Bye, everyone.